Morning, y'all. Should we have a look what's in my golf bag today? We've done the guys' golf bags, we've looked inside, Dan's tinkering around, Matt just wants flashy things that got Callaway written on it. Should we have a look what's in my bag? Little disclaimer before we start, there's probably going to be quite a lot of Titleist in this bag. So if that is a problem for you, that is fine. We post loads of videos. Maybe skip over this one. Right, so I've got a new golf bag, which I've got to get my clubs into. So as we'll get my clubs out of this flight squished broken one, they got squished on the plane. We'll talk about what's going in my new bag, shall we? Let's start with the irons. So I'm Titleist MB, the bladed forged club. This is the 718 version. I have standard lofts, just whatever they came off the rack as. Didn't know Danny Boy had 1 degree stronger than me yesterday. That was interesting, wasn't it? But I'm 2 degrees flat in the lie. Titleist always come out quite upright. There's a few companies that do that. TaylorMade always come out upright. Callaway a bit, and definitely Titleist. Mizuno generally a bit flatter. So I could go more standard Mizuno as a general rule. 2 degrees flat on these. If I don't get them 2 degrees flat, definitely feel that overdraw coming in. Shaft wise, so I've got quite interesting shafts, look, because I don't even know what that one is because it has no decal on it. So I've got Dynamic Gold Tour issue shafts, but only decals on almost every other club, it feels like, because I've got 3 here and there's only 1 with a decal on. Now I don't know this because I don't really care about the shaft in it. It's fine, it feels like S300 is what I would have asked for, so I'm not sure if they just stuck a few stickers on because well, I don't know actually, but I'm sure they're S300s. Some of them have decals, some of them don't. Tour Velvet standard grip, no extra layers of tape, just standard thickness. Just clear black Tour Velvet grips with a little Golf Pride on the top. Now really I've always used blades through my kind of gaming when I used to play Korea. I did an interesting experiment with some Mizuno JPX EZs years ago where I went as chunky as possible, and I got seduced by the extra distance to the number written on the bottom. But over a few months and a year of playing, it was very obvious that D-plane just rules the roost, and it made really no difference what's written on the bottom. It's more to do with the loft I deliver. That's what's going to give me my elements of control. So I go from 9 iron to 6 iron in them, and then in my 5 iron, that's not my 5 iron, I'm Titleist CBs. As you can see, I'm not a prolific cleaner of my clubs. So the reason we went CB in the 5 iron, we'll talk about my hybrids in a second, but it's just a gradual step, a little bit more height when we get down to basically my longest iron I create. I think on the launch monitor we saw 1 to 2 yard extra peak height, and that would flip as I tried this in the blade, but I would just, I'll just take that. It looks great, it blends. I don't even, when I look down and I pick the 5 iron up over say a 6 and it's a different model, it just blends. I don't even notice anymore really. I didn't even notice at the start. But combo sets, I definitely feel for lots of you down that lens, something you just don't really get the opportunity enough to try, and I blame a few people for that. I blame the pros fitting you. It's easier sometimes just to fit you into a set of clubs, because there's a lot of conversations going on. It takes a lot of time. Lots of people aren't charging for their custom fits, so they don't want to waste too much time. There isn't the huge profits that lots of you think there is in this stuff. And then also what demo stuff is available as well to cross over into combo sets, because obviously if you've just got a bag of 6 and 7 irons, well, you can't test that 5 iron combo, can you? So it's about the supplier supplying the pro with better equipment to give you better fittings, which you should all demand in my opinion. So predominantly MB, CB in the 5 iron to 9 iron are my irons. Let's have a look at my hybrids next. Let's do hybrids and fairways together, shall we? So Titleist H1 19 degree fairway, B1 on the neck. So that's 0.75 down in loft, so it's an 18.25, which also keeps it in the standard lie, which I don't mind because hybrids tend to be a little bit upright as a general rule. But by making this one go down in loft, it makes the face point a fraction more right, so they kind of balance each other out. This club is pretty straight, it can draw and fade. The general pattern I'll aim kind of straight to slightly left with this and let it just drift in. Tour AD shaft, D185, stiff flex, just looks really pimp, didn't they? To be honest with you, Titleist weren't that keen on putting this in, knowing my results with shaft, because basically it costs a bit more. I just stamp my feet a little bit. Then we go to my trusty, my 23. So this is what's called Rinky Dinks H1. Anyone who notices from the vlog, so I'm now not on the ping, I'm on this one. I've been on this for a while while. Basically, I took this to play with my daughter one time. It ended up going to a trip, might have been Turkey, I don't know where I ended up taking it. Kind of didn't really take it out. It went as good as anything else. To be honest with you, the H1s look very similar in shape. I think when I first did the review of these, before I was even with Titleist and the one before this, I said how easy this one would be to put in the bag because it looks like my Rinky Dinks for shape. So this is A1, it's 23 degrees, again it's upright. This club I'll tend to take dead aim to slightly right. I can fade it in as well, but generally it's a little bit drawy, and I think that comes a little bit from the upright, which I quite like. It plays into the shape shot I want to see from this club. Same shaft, Tour AD. Both grips on these two hybrids exactly the same as what's on my irons. No extra layers, Tour Velvet, standard Golf Pride grip. I just love my Rinky Dink. This is one of my favourite clubs. We've been talking a lot about shot gain recently, and me and the guys joke about this one. This one I think bucks the trend. So getting closer definitely is always the goal, but this distance that I can hit this one, so if I get between 200 and 180, the guys generally know I'm going to hit and average the good shot with this. They often want me to get to 175 and close to the 180 and want me to hit my 5-iron. That's what they want. Not that my 5-iron really statistically probably is as bad, but I just feel not quite as confident with it. The 23 definitely has been a club, I mean it'll just be a club with me forever. That loft is just kind of right in that spot. What I love about this club as well is I can hit this 210, really pushing it, and I've hit it from 165 into breezes, things like that. It feels like a wedge to me. I can do what I want with it. Fairway wood TS2, 13.5 degree loft in a D4 shore fit neck setting. D4 adds 0.75 degrees of loft, gets it just over the 14 mark, so it's a slightly stronger freewood in loft. I have no problem getting my freewood lofting up in the air. Keeps it in the standard lie. Again, this one to me, I was D3 when I first got the TS models, and I just found it leaking a bit to the right for me more than I wanted. I like my freewood to be able to turn over with ease, so right to left, I don't want to have to think about it. I want it to almost do that standard, and then I'll work it the other way. And I felt the TS2 was a bit easier to do that. Obviously lofting this up a little bit just turns the face in a fraction as well. So again, I mean, for me, that's where I love short fit. That would have taken ages before you had necks like this, to dial in all that kind of intricateness through keeping the lie, changing the loft, changing the face angle. Apart from new models coming out, I'm very happy with this over my TS3, which I was a little bit struggling with. Shaft, hazardous smoke, it's 6.0, it's the 70 gram. Grip exactly the same as my other clubs, it's just got the slightly different colourway, and it's got no patterns on it, because obviously when you're changing the neck it's going to move the logos around it, so it's a clean one if you like. Should we do some wedge game? So I'm 4 wedges, starting with my pitching wedge, if you like, Vokey SM7, all SM7s, all this same dark finish, 46 degrees, 10 bounce F grind, also bent to the 2 degrees flat like the irons. This one has a decal on, same grip. Like Dan, I use this club for chipping, so having that different sole, those different grinds, does make me feel like I can use this for more situations. I did a video testing distance compared to the pitch wedge from the set, and it fits in, so it fits that number. It's got a name, it's called Parfield. Then I got my bear with, this is a 50 degree SM7, same finish. 08 bounce, F grind, again, similar dirt distribution and layout on this club. Again, 50 degrees, just hitting a number I want in that gap wedge. Again, another club I will chip with. It is something I will use for chipping. I am going through my lofts more now, where as a young player, when I was more confident, I would have just kind of chose one. So having these different lofts is helping me obviously hit into greens, but around the greens it's just giving me a few more options, and I need as many options as I can get my hands on. Then we move to my drop this off. This is my 56 8 bounce M grind. I like using my 56 from the bunkers. I like pitching with it. I like that little bit more medium sole on it. I will open it up. There was a period of time where I was only chipping with this club, but I now use the other one, which we'll come to in a second. But again, it just fits. All of these wedges are fitting the numbers I need them to do and giving me that versatility around the green. S300 dynamic golds on those two as well, the last two. Literally, can't feel a thing. And my last wedge, 56 coach, 60 degrees, 8 bounce, medium sole again. As my confidence grows with my chipping, this one's being used more and more. Always like the 60 for pitching, just giving me that option of higher and then higher flight and that kind of steeper land angle. But actually getting some confidence in these now to start using this more around the greens. Get up. 4 wedges for a very skilled wedge player, I guess. Should we look at my 262 club? So TS, TS3, nothing going on in here. I'm happy with that just being neutral. A1 in the neck, again standard. 9.5 loft. So I've got the hazardous smoke, 60 grams, 6.0. Again, same grip, no patterns on it, so if I did want to move the neck around. Now I did go through a period of moving the neck around on this as I struggled to find the shape that I consistently wanted for the amount of lack of practice that I do. So what I mean by that is I want to pick up a driver and just be able to hit a shape. I don't want to have to think about it. I want it just to draw, say, or I want it to cut, depending on how I'm feeling. And I definitely felt more fadey than drawy, so I started mucking around with the neck, and it was quite an interesting experiment for me actually, and something I want to do more videos on and a bit of testing. I hopefully want to try and do a bit of tour player testing. What I found myself is I'd chain the neck, it would help me, but then I would just chase back my kind of own feeling, so it didn't take long each time I changed the neck for me to override it and just go back to whatever I was feeling at that time. So the same way that I track CG on the club, if you change lofts and lies and where the face points, I just kind of work it out if you give me enough shots. I've always gamed standard clubs, you know, just set them as neutral on the floor, as straight faced, you know, the loft that's on it. I've always gamed clubs that way and kind of worked off that as my 0 point. And then in my head, I'm working off my paths, angle of attacks around those numbers that I know are there. So yeah, something I'll do more on, but I'm all very standard in it. 9.5 A1, TS3. Again, TS3 over TS2. Just preferred the shape. I did try both. Didn't really see a difference in performance. A few revs difference, but not really loads. I could get the TS2 kind of where I wanted. It was more just that classic Titleist shape that I liked in the TS3. Also shaft length. Back up to the standard. I had the slightly shorter shaft from the prior model, the 917. Anyone saw a video, I'll try and put a link maybe to it, where it gave me just the potential of a few more mile an hour club head speed, which again was like 3 to 6 yards potential if everything comes into line for distance. So again, making a tiny difference, which you won't see that much. It's more that potential for that added distance by me going for that longer shafts. And through my years of testing, to be honest with you, I can use as longer shafts really within reason. I'm always surprised. I could probably make this one longer and I could probably still hit it, and it's something I should really experiment with, to be honest. TS3. Sorry, quick little footnote with this one as well. I have the head cover on it, and it's something quirky that I do. So my hybrids I don't have head covers on, because I have to pull them quite a lot. I want them to feel more like irons. I don't mind if they dink up like my irons as well. I want them to feel in my bag just more as irons. It's a quirky thing for me. It's not a tip or anything. It's just something for me. Like Matt and Dan would never be able to do this because they would hate the dinking on them. Even to the same state now at the minute where my freewood, I would normally put a head cover on my freewood, but I lost it somewhere. God knows where that is in the world. And again, I don't mind. I never had head covers on any of my clubs when I used to play, even my driver. I don't care about dinks, scratches on the top. Just, I don't care. I'm normally going to be settled in with a club for its life, and I'm happy for it to just evolve. I get wrinkles, chips, achy bits. I quite like my clubs doing the same, kind of aging with me. It's just a weird little thing I do. One more club to go. Right, we'll show you these in a second because I like this. So it's a Scotty Cameron custom shot, Newport 2. So it's blacked out, white cherry bombs, white Scotty Cameron on the back, MC stamping on the face, 15 gram weight in heel toe at the bottom. The main thing I asked for is this blacked out line. I actually wanted it with no line, but I couldn't get it. So I wanted the line not to be white. I want that line to disappear. I don't like, but it's not that I don't like, I go in and out of having kind of feelings on lines on putters. I'm happy to have no lines because I like to aim the whole head, so I'm not just looking at the face when I'm aiming it. So I'm looking at the back, I'm using this edge, I'm using the back, I'm using the front, I'm aiming the whole thing in my imagination. So I don't want anything pulling me away from just the outline of the club. which the lines can do sometimes. Also got this blacked out shaft, which I didn't particularly ask for, they just did that, which does make it look super cool, to be honest. It's got a white Scotty Cameron grip on, which I do love the feeling of, but I would have got a black one, to be honest with you, because it's kind of gone off colour. When I do get round and getting it re-gripped, I'll probably get a black one on there, because my hands are dirty as you play and it just goes off colour. Certainly doesn't affect how I feel about putting or the putter. It's just like a cosmetic thing, really, more than anything else. Definitely one of my favourite pieces of golf equipment, but I've always been a bit of a putter geek, to be honest, and I think that's why I get excited by these. I actually swap the head cover over each time I go and play, just for a bit of fun. Like I say, a bit of a putter geek, really. Golf ball, Pro V1X, 26 number, and I write hashtag 2262 on there. Also got my face on it, but I am at the minute, it was actually Matt's idea to put the face on it. It's a clever one, and we obviously give away prizes if you find one of them anywhere in the world. But I'm really enjoying it at the minute. I only used them once. The yellow Pro V1X, I've got some stamping on it, hashtag 262.5 TS3. Can't get my face on this one as of yet. But I used these in a test the other day, and I was amazed. I'm blind as a bat and I can actually see them through the air and landing a bit better, so I'm definitely looking forward to giving them a bit more of a go. Same as Dan, things I love about my golf bag, just some of the trinkets we get to pick up, and Finca Corzane tees, Bay Hill tee, the new #1 tee in golf, I would say, Harbour Town tee, Celtic Manor 2010. All this stuff as we go around the world playing is an absolute treat. I love it. It's one of the best things in my bag. I've got these Rolex tee. That's awkward, isn't it? Got them at the Portuguese Masters. Oh, what? That is awkward. I do love all that stuff. It's just fun, isn't it? Little trinkets. And the last thing, and to be honest with you, I didn't ask for this. The guys at Titleist just sent this over. It's a little bit big, but it's funny. That's a golf bag, isn't it? Look at that. Hey? Do you like that? That is my what's in the bag. Now look, I've got a gift for you if you want to join in. If you want to win this brand new, it's not the squished one, 4-up Titleist stand bag. You're welcome to this one. That box there is what it will go in. I'll ship it anywhere in the world. One of my Twitter followers, Instagram followers, or YouTube subscribers, so make sure you follow any of those platforms of mine. Full Golf Online on Twitter, at Crossfield Mark on Instagram, and obviously where you are here on YouTube. One of my subscribers, or Twitter followers, or Instagram, whichever one I choose, you've got to be a member of all three, will win that bag. Thanks, Titleist. See you all tomorrow, where we might have to do another in the bag with Dan, because he's probably already changed something, so his one's probably out of date already. For me today, if you got through all the Titleist bashing, you know, like you just saw it's Titleist this, Titleist that, and you've made it to the end of this video, hopefully it's interesting for you, and I've said it many times. You notice how some of my, like when I was talking about my hybrids, I let them shape the way they shape. I don't fight them, I game them. And when I have this conversation with amateurs, you know, hit this club, what shape do you normally hit with this one? Well, I want to hit this, they say. Sometimes it's best to let the club's loft, how you work out how to deliver those lofts, just work for themselves, and you play them. Don't always fight them. Not saying it's the only way, but it's certainly a way I find that I can go out and play without practicing as much and get the most out of my game, rather than just constantly having a permanent battle. Because as we all know, there's plenty of battles in golf, isn't there? Thanks for watching. See you all tomorrow.